This perp back with another video, and I just got done checking out Pantheon Season 1, Episode 7. We got one more episode left, but I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right into this review, because this episode was crazy, and it's a great penultimate episode to set up the finale, and we kind of pick up where Episode 6 leaves off, where Shonda pretty much gave everybody this information on how to upload, and you're starting to see the ramifications of this with the opening up with the scene of this guy taking out one of his ops, you know what I'm saying, and things are starting to really hit the fan. So there's a big focus on Lori's character in this because she doesn't have too much time, so she decides to kind of come up with the solution to just out everything and just go public. And Shonda is kind of leaning against that because he obviously just likes the way things are and wants to kind of build upon it. She just really wants to tell everybody and to let people know, like, this is what's going to happen. And on the flip side of things, Shonda doesn't want this to get out, because this is going to really mess things up in his eyes, and it's going to be more problematic for everybody. So what I also like about this episode is that Peter is seemingly a part of the team now. You know what I'm saying? Ellen kind of reaches out to him to kind of see if, like, he could help out to get somewhat into the system. And I like this whole conversation that they had right here. This was really well animated as well too, like the reflections and everything and whatnot. Then we catch up with Carrie, and he's starting to wake up. He gets a rude awakening from Renee. Renee is just a nut. Julius, on the other hand, he wants to kind of do this on his own terms, and he has something planned that we don't know just yet, but it's very fascinating. And I don't know exactly what they're going to do with Carrie's character, because he kind of tries to play up his character. He has to kind of play up his character to kind of, not to not make them alarmed, pretty much. But Julius is not going, he's not buying it, obviously. But that's why he tells Renee, we're just going to do this on our own terms and our own home turf and whatnot. So that's really interesting, and I'm curious to see where that goes in the finale. Caspian, on the other hand, is doing a little bit of soul searching. He finds himself at this, like, kind of youth center and stuff, and he starts to kind of hang out there just to kind of find himself. But once he starts to kind of do this little algorithm or this little problem solving thing on the chalkboard, I think he figured out the issue and what's really going on, or it's just something in him just kind of snapped, or I don't know. I think he came to some type of revelation. But I also like that this guy, I forget his name, he kind of comes up to him and pretty much gives Caspian a good pep talk, I should say. And says, like, you decide what you want to do. You have free will. Because this whole time, like, Caspian's just questioning his reality. Do I really even have a choice in the matter of my future and stuff like that? And I just like that whole back and forth he had with this guy, and him breaking down what he went through in his life, and this is why it brought him to doing the job that he's doing, taking care of the youth and stuff that are struggling out there, or if somebody's homeless. So I like the parallels and that whole discussion. But flipping things over to Lori and Cody, they start to have this little fight over just what to kind of do with this whole situation. Cody wants to pretty much get her body back, but the cost of that is to kind of get like an old build of her or something like that. It's not going to be the same one that you see now. She is still leaning towards, like, just outing everything and telling the truth, which leads to Peter getting like this flash drive with some information and whatnot to kind of help out the crew. Shonda, he still can't be trusted, but for right now, David trusts him to kind of, fix this whole, or just rebuild this little program or whatever the hell you want to call it, to kind of just see everybody's location and stuff like that. And Lori already doesn't, trust Shonda at all, for good reason. So they're trying to secretly tell everybody, like, look, this is what's going on. There's this defect and whatnot. And they end up getting to this really cool fight scene, which I want to see kind of more of this in season 2. We got like a little taste of it. I want to kind of see more of this like dot hack / sword art online type of fight scenes, which is really cool to see them fight on these servers and whatnot. But it ends up messing up because Lori's glitching out. She's using too much power, memory, whatever you want to call it. Shonda's really frustrated and even goes to as far as attacking Lori. And this is where David steps in, like, no, you gotta get out of here. Shonda's like, no, you're not gonna stop me from getting what I want. So that's really interesting, setting up his kind of villain arc. They kind of go their separate ways, but Lori kind of disappears. Going back to Caspian and Julius, though, this scene is really interesting because this is really like them playing chess, where Julius is really just making himself known, making himself feel comfortable around Caspian, making him feel comfortable saying, like, yo, whatever you want, you could have it, you could have the company. And Caspian, on the other hand, is like, yo, you know what I'm going to do when I get there? I'm going to mess things up. And I don't know what these two could be planning. It's very interesting because it could go really either way. You know what I'm saying? Who's really ahead of who? You know what I'm saying? Is this going to be a part of Caspian's plan to just kind of infiltrate? Or because we still don't know what Julius is really planning, and it's really fascinating. So let me know how you guys feel about this scene, because I thought this was really fascinating. Now, as we get towards the end of the episode, Cody kind of gets back to Lori, and they kind of make amends and apologize, while Lori is making her kind of like confession video, I guess you want to call that, or the outing video, and while he's recording that. And this was really sad because it was almost like pretty much their last moments before shit just goes completely crazy, because what Shonda does at the end of this episode is really crazy. He calls Maddie, but he disguises himself as David, Maddie's dad, and that's fucked up to kind of trick her into that. And he's pretty much letting her know, or just warning her, like, look, if your dad doesn't step back, there's going to be some consequences, and that consequences is him just letting off one of these like nukes or a bomb, whatever, to detonate the servers to stop her from outing and going public and stuff. And I'm curious to see where that's going to leave everything, because I'm pretty sure David was uploaded on that server as well, so he might be gone. So I'm curious to see where this is all going, because, man, I really enjoyed this episode, this whole entire series from start to finish. There hasn't been really any bad episodes, so I really think that they're going to stick the landing with this finale and do a lot of interesting things to set up a season 2. Let me know how you guys feel about this. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.